They knew my smile. They knew my wounds. That's why their betrayal hurt the most. I used to believe that danger announced itself, that pain came with warning signs, that enemies looked like enemies. I was wrong. Pain is quiet when it arrives through familiar faces. It doesn't knock. It doesn't shout. It sits beside you, smiles at you, listens to your dreams, and waits for the perfect moment to break you. The people who hurt me the most were the ones I never questioned. They knew my routines, my fears, the soft parts of me I never showed the world. They knew how hard I loved, how deeply I trusted, and how easily I forgave. They knew because I gave them that knowledge freely, believing love and loyalty were safe investments. I didn't realize I was handing them the sharpest weapons against me. It started slowly, the way betrayals always do. A missed call here, a delayed reply there, a change in tone I brushed off as stress. I told myself not to overthink. I defended them even in my own mind. When doubt whispered, I silenced it. After all, these were my people, my family, my closest circle, the ones who promised they'd never leave me bleeding. I was the one who showed up first. I remember birthdays, checked in during hard days, stayed awake through their breakdowns. I carried their secrets like they were sacred. I fought for them in rooms they weren't even present in. I thought that kind of loyalty came back multiplied. I didn't know it came back disguised as betrayal. The first crack came when I needed them, really needed them. Not for laughter or celebration, but for strength. I was drowning quietly, and I reached out, expecting hands to pull me up. Instead, I felt distance. Excuses. Silence. They were suddenly busy, suddenly tired, suddenly unavailable. Yet I watched them show up everywhere else, for everyone else. That's when confusion settled in. Not anger. Not yet. Confusion hurts differently. It makes you question yourself before you question others. I wondered if I was asking for too much, if I had become a burden, if I was too emotional, too sensitive, too needy. I shrank myself to fit into the space they were slowly withdrawing from. Then came the whispers. Conversations that stopped when I entered the room. Looks exchanged over my head. Laughter that felt heavier, sharper. I felt it before I understood it. That instinct you ignore because you don't want to believe what it's telling you. I told myself I was imagining things. Familiar faces wouldn't do that to me. They wouldn't, but they did. The truth didn't arrive gently. It never does. It crashed into me through a careless confession, a screenshot sent by mistake, a truth revealed too late to be softened. I learned that my pain had become a topic, my struggles a story, my trust entertainment. The people who held my hand in private were dissecting me in public. They knew my weakest moments because I had cried in front of them. They knew my insecurities because I trusted them with my truth. And they used it all, twisted my words, rewrote my intentions, painted me as the villain in a story where I was barely surviving. That was the moment something broke inside me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet shatter. The kind that leaves you sitting still, staring ahead, feeling everything and nothing at the same time. I realized the pain wasn't just what they did. It was who did it. Strangers can hurt you, and you heal. You expect nothing from them. But familiar faces? They leave scars that don't fade. They make you flinch at kindness. They make you question every smile. They teach you to guard yourself even when you don't want to. I confronted them, hoping for honesty, maybe even remorse. I didn't get either. I got denial wrapped in smiles. Justifications disguised as concern. Blame shifted so smoothly, I almost believed it. Almost. They told me I misunderstood, that I was dramatic, that I took things too personally. That hurt more than the betrayal itself. Gaslighting is a special kind of cruelty. It doesn't just wound you. It tries to rewrite your reality. For a moment, I doubted my own memory, my own feelings. I stood there apologizing for being hurt, while they stood comfortable in the damage they caused. That was when I chose silence. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I finally understood that some people don't deserve access to your truth anymore. I walked away quietly. No long explanations, no public scenes, just distance. Walking away didn't heal me instantly. Nights were the hardest. Memories replayed themselves without permission. I missed the version of them I thought was real. I missed the safety I believed I had. Betrayal doesn't just take people away, it takes the innocence you had with them. I learned to sit with the pain instead of running from it. I let myself grieve the relationships as if they were deaths, because in a way, they were. The people I loved no longer existed in the form I trusted. Accepting that truth was brutal, but necessary. Slowly, I began rebuilding myself, not into who I was before, but into someone stronger, quieter, more aware. I stopped explaining myself to people who were committed to misunderstanding me. I stopped chasing closure from those who thrived on confusion. I learned that peace doesn't come from answers. It comes from boundaries. I became careful with my energy. I no longer gave everyone front row access to my life. I observed more, listened more, trusted slower. Some might call it cold. I call it survival. When you've been wounded by familiarity, caution becomes wisdom. Time did what confrontation couldn't. It revealed truths without words. I watched their patterns repeat with others. I saw the same smiles, the same charm, the same eventual destruction. And I realized it was never about me. I was just close enough to be used. That realization didn't make me bitter. It made me free. I stopped carrying guilt that wasn't mine. I stopped replaying scenarios, wondering what I could have done differently. Sometimes, love given to the wrong people doesn't turn into love returned. It turns into lessons learned. Today, I don't hate them. Hate requires energy I'd rather invest in myself. I don't wish them harm. Life has a way of teaching its own lessons. I simply keep my distance, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Familiar faces hurt the most because they see you clearly before choosing to harm you anyway. But they also teach you the most important lesson. Not everyone who knows your name deserves to know your heart. I survived them. And in doing so, I found myself.